Most people think they know how much a house costs. You know the purchase price, you work out the mortgage, and those feel like the numbers that matter. But for a lot of houses in New Zealand, the cost of maintaining the building over its life can end up being hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes exceeding the cost of building it in the first place. The strange part is that buyers never get shown that number before they buy. Two houses can sell for the same price, they can meet the same building code, and they can look almost identical, but one of them might cost hundreds of thousands of dollars more to maintain over the next 30, 40, 50 years. We've already seen what can happen when long-term performance isn't taken seriously enough. The leaky homes crisis cost billions of dollars, and even now there's an estimated tens of billions of dollars in maintenance that should have already been done on New Zealand houses, but simply hasn't. And that got me wondering whether part of the problem is simply that the long-term cost of the house is mostly invisible when people make property purchase decisions. What if every new build New Zealand house had to show its expected maintenance cost over time? That idea is one that we're calling the Maintenance Cost Index. Before we get into the detail, let's have a look at why any of this actually matters. New Zealand should already know what happens when durability is ignored. The leaky homes crisis affected tens of thousands of houses built mainly in the 1990s and 2000s. Poor detailing, untreated timber, complex cladding systems, weak inspection systems, all these things led to widespread moisture damage. The total cost of this crisis has been estimated between $20 and $40 billion. Not millions, billions. And most of that cost is still being paid, and by you, as a ratepayer or as a renter. Even today, the effects are still being felt. We've got court cases, council liabilities, expensive repairs, and a loss of trust in the building system. The problem was not just bad workmanship and materials. It's the system that we still have that rewards low upfront cost and ignores long-term performance. Even when houses are built correctly, maintenance still costs money. Research and budgeting guidelines suggest that maintaining a house typically costs around 0.5% to 2% of its value every year. Over 40 years, that adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Homeowners often delay maintenance because the cost is just not planned for. The paint gets left too long, the sealants fail, roofs are not repaired, moisture gets in, small problems become big ones. Across the country, this creates a huge backlog of deferred maintenance. Our current understanding is that 90% of New Zealand homes are in need of maintenance, with an estimated cost of $27 billion. And when maintenance is delayed, the final repair cost always gets higher. New Zealand has a long-standing productivity problem in construction. We build fewer houses per worker than many of our comparable countries. Projects take longer, costs are high. Much of our new housing features poor and complex detailing, hard to access services, and short life, high maintenance materials. So much work goes into fixing problems that could have been avoided with better design. In fact, our issues with productivity and quality control are estimated to be costing us $2.5 billion per year. And all of this makes houses harder to maintain. But the current system doesn't reward simple, durable design. It rewards a lower build cost today. And that's because buyers are not shown the cost of the building over time. Imagine if every house had a rating system for the cost of maintenance over a set period, a standardised calculation prepared using a defined method. The way it works is this: the cost of the original build is known. A long-term maintenance schedule is developed and costed over a set period. The cost of maintenance over time is divided by the number of years, let's say 40 in this instance. The year average cost of maintenance is then divided by the initial build cost, giving us a coefficient of maintenance. This is expressed as a percentage, and this is our maintenance cost index. Standard service life and cost data would be used to develop the long-term maintenance plan, something that we regularly undertake for body corporates and commercial property owners at Current. MBIE would set the standard methodology for the calculation using data from brands. Where a property strays slightly from the standard, a QS or an LTMP specialist could be used. All of this information would then be passed on to the purchaser in order to aid in maintenance planning and budgeting for the future. The numbers alone are not always easy to understand, so the index could also be shown as a rating band just to simplify things a little. A would be exceptionally low maintenance properties, B would be low maintenance, C would be average, D high maintenance, and E very high maintenance. Each band would correspond to a range of index values. A house designed for durability might be in the B band, a house with more maintenance risk might fall into D. This would let buyers compare houses properly, not just by price, but by long-term cost. And once long-term cost becomes visible, buyers' habits change and the market moves to meet the expectations of the buyers. We want builders who design durable houses to get rewarded and high-maintenance designs to become less common. To see why this matters, imagine two houses that cost the same to build. One is designed for durability, brick cladding, steel fascia, minimal penetrations, long run tray roofing with concealed fixings and accessible services. The other uses painted timber weatherboards, painted fascia, more penetrations, corrugated roofing with exposed fixings and hidden services inside the walls. Both houses may meet the building code and both could sell for the same price, but the maintenance cost over 40 years is vastly different. Here's a simplified maintenance schedule. And you see, if we start adjusting for inflation over the years, the costs just absolutely skyrocket. Both meet the code, both are sellable, but one costs far more to own. And right now, buyers do not see that difference at the point of sale. If the maintenance cost index had to be shown when the house is sold, the incentives for development change. Designers have to start thinking about maintenance, developers have to start thinking about durability, and the product manufacturers are encouraged to offer products with better lifespans, all because a high maintenance house would be visible to buyers. Over time, the whole industry would move towards buildings that last longer and cost less to maintain, not because of more rules, but by simply equipping buyers with the real cost of maintenance during the sales process. New Zealand has already paid billions for poor durability. We have a housing stock with a growing maintenance backlog, and we keep building houses where long-term cost is absolutely invisible. The purchase price is not the real cost of the house. The real cost is what it takes to keep it working long into the future. If buyers could see that cost, the market would change, design would change, quality would improve, and the industry would be pushed towards buildings that last, not just because they're forced to, but because the numbers simply make it obvious. That is the idea behind the maintenance cost index. Give the buyers the true cost and let the market do the rest.